Hi everybody, good morning. Wow, so many people. I said earlier I've escaped Shanghai, the lockdown last week, so I'm still not used to so many people, although I'm normally the super extroverted social person. But I'm very excited to be with all of you here. Okay, so today it's all about hiring the right team members. For everybody who doesn't know me yet, I'll introduce myself shortly, So let's start with a little inspirational quote. The best leaders are those most interested in surrounding themselves with assistants and associates that are smarter than they are. They are frank in admitting this and are willing to pay for such talents. Okay, short introduction about me and my company. Oh no, it's not working. All right. Okay, my colleague created this beautiful video. I wanted to launch this today, but it's okay.
We can share it later as we go.
No worries. So let's start differently then. What do I believe in? And this tells a lot about who I am. I think, like my coach, JT Fox, he always says, like in business or life, it takes one person, one deal, and one opportunity to change your life or your business completely. So maybe it's that one person who you're going to hire, who you're going to collaborate with. And this is something I always remind myself, especially when I'm nervous, shy, having a low moment, whatever it is, because this gives me courage and extra energy to continue. So what do I do? My company is called Full Potential Partners. So it's all about unlocking your full potential. Whether it's like individuals, I also work with teams, and we give trainings related to communication, soft skills, and happiness in the workplace. Yes. At the same time, I also do like one-on-one coaching to help you achieve your goals. Yes. So, and I've been in China actually. Soon it will be 5 years. Suzhou, Shanghai, now maybe Hangzhou or Shenzhen, let's see. And I also run a community called Monday Morning Motivation. So for all the early birds here, right? So every Monday morning at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, we have inspirational speakers online, so you can just come and join, learn something new, and have a positive start in a new day and week. That's it, enough about me. I forgot. My background is actually in IT and business. So I worked at Huipo at HP for 7 years back in Germany. And I came to China for my master's degree. So I found my purpose in life while still working for HP Germany, studying in full-time in Germany and in Suzhou at a French business school. Running my first little projects. I started a happiness association. I ran networking events, founded a female network in Suzhou, so it's a lot. And because I did so many things at the same time, that practical experience that I got, I realized, all right, that's what you actually don't like, and that's what you do like. And I guess I somehow have to quit my job, although I don't really have any savings, and just stay in China, maybe move to Shanghai and open my own company. I mean, it sounds pretty crazy. I don't have parents who support me. I have debt in Germany, but hey, that's what you do when you found your purpose in life. And this is basically that extra energy inside you that even if you have a full-time job and your project is maybe not a full business yet, but it keeps you going. Okay, so a few companies I have worked with, lots of different industries, universities, automotive, manufacturing, small and big. But I love working with entrepreneurs actually, because I think you guys are so much full of potential, and there's so much change that can happen in such a small amount of time. Okay, so now here, there's a dilemma. 80% of individual and teams within most organizations are actually not really achieving their true or full potential. Why do you think this is? Today it's all about hiring the right team members, right?
They're working alone.
They're working alone, okay. What else could it be?
People just don't understand what they want to do.
Yeah. Maybe what they're also capable to do. Anything else?
Maybe it's trying to take on, like, building on what Dara said, just trying to take on too much responsibility.
Yeah. What else?
They stop learning.
Stopped learning.
They work for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is not clear, no? Maybe the lead is not clear. Where are we going? Why are we going?
Wow, a lot of reasons. And the list is even longer than that. That's pretty scary, no? Now, there is a very interesting research from McKinsey from about a year ago. And they found out a lot of things like the topic is reskilling China. And in their research, they really found out, well, we really need our employees in China to focus more on lifelong learning. And they actually found out, shockingly, 220 million people in China have to be reskilled until 2030. What? 220 million people have to be reskilled. That's a lot. My country, Germany, doesn't even have that many people. So another interesting thing they found out is here, looking at the turnover of workers, when we look at the different generations. So they found out the average time spent in the first job for the generation born in the 1990s in China was only 19 months. But for the generations in the 1970s and 80s, it was actually 51 or 43 months. And every time you have to hire a new person, it costs you a lot of money. It's the same with getting clients. There's like, you can calculate the life cycle of a client or an employee, and you can actually like have a number, how much it costs you. And it's better to keep an employee, if it's a good one, of course, and also that client over a long time, because doing business development, putting in marketing, it takes a lot of time and it can be quite costly, right? So keep these things in mind when talking about employees as well. And that research said, focus on lifelong learning skills, focus on mindset, and so on. And people skills. Good. So, what exactly is recruiting or HR management? I know we talk a lot about it, but are you fully 100% aware of what it means? What is involved in it? Because we're not talking about the big corporations. We're now talking about us smaller companies. What belongs to recruiting and HR management?
For recruiting, it's to hire the right person for your position within the amount of time that you have and with the location where you're trying to find the person. And HR management is more about how you will work with this person on a daily basis, how you will provide your maybe company values to the person, and how the person will look like in your company landscape.
All right. Anybody who wants to add something?
It definitely has to do something with retention, because recruiting is nice, but how are you gonna make people stay in a company?
Yeah, it's part of the cycle.
I think it's one more team. It's HRD, which is human resource development. Is how to educate these humans to maybe fit higher standards.
Yeah. So basically, recruitment is really about, it's a whole process of identifying, attracting. You also have to attract them, right? That they want to work for you and not for maybe Alibaba, but for your IT company. Interview them, select them, hire them. There's a lot of paperwork in there as well. Onboard your employees, and yeah, takes a lot of time, a lot of efforts. It's maybe a one-person show in our company. And for HR management, it's really the function of people management with an organization. Like facilitating the overall goals, you also mentioned values, of the organization through effective administration of this human capital. Now, I want to ask you now, what means right team member for you? Take out your phone. We don't really have paper and pens here, so I want you to write this down now. Take out your phone or somewhere where you can write it down for yourself so you can go back to this. What means right team member for you? The word especially right. What is the right team member for you? And it doesn't matter if it's your own company right now, you're working on a project. I tell you this, I don't have the answer to this. Only you have the answer to that question. So think about a few things, write it down if you like. Let's say 30 more seconds, only because of the time management today. Can someone maybe also share with us what right team member means for you? Anybody?
I can.
Jaro?
I think the right team member is a person who can fit with job description functions. Because in our job description, I think it's a hint on the screen.
Yes.
We want to list what kind of functions this person must carry on. And the right team member is the person who is responsible to fit all these requirements.
Okay, thank you, Jaro. As I said, every person has a different answer to this. Anybody else who wants to share? Yes.
I already have years of experiences in some certain field which I required because I don't have to pay extra fee to educate he or her.
Okay, that's his requirement, but maybe it's not what you or you would need. Good. Anybody else? Please.
For example, should be a fast learner. I don't expect this person probably know 100% fit my requirements, but at least is a person who is able to learn it fast. If I have to teach something, probably before he was doing a different way, but just learn it in another way. And yeah.
Beautiful what you just said. So when I worked at HP, no matter what your degree was, we were actually able to develop in lots of different departments if we wanted to and if the boss saw the potential in us. So although like I was working in account management and I had a colleague, he had a biology degree and he was an account manager in IT. And I had a colleague, he actually had a laws degree and only I had the business degree. But it's interesting what he said, because if they have the right attitude, they're willing to learn, then maybe it doesn't have to be a person who even has that specific degree, unless really needed. And why is the job description so important? So I really want you to write down a detailed job description, to think about everything. We will go through a few things like the values. What do you want the person to be like? The company culture maybe. Not only like the salary, we're going to talk about other benefits. Be very, very detailed in here. You don't have to write down everything publicly, but also think about it for yourself. Really picture that right team member that you're looking for. Visualize that person. Now, why would someone like to work with you or for you? That's another question. And number two, what can you offer to that employee? And I don't want you to just focus about the salary. Think like beyond, think outside of the box. What can you offer to that employee? So take a few seconds to think about this and then let's have a bit of a brainstorming. And again, I don't have the answer. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I love seeing you taking notes.
When everyone writing, I would like to highlight one very interesting point. This can be super attractive, like a free coffee in the morning.
Ah, nice, beautiful. Okay, let's start sharing. Number one, why would someone like to work for you, for your little company? Anybody? Bob? Anybody? Yes, please.
So I think it's kind of like the same as how we pitch investors.
Mm.
Pitch employee, we should also show them like why now, why this, and why us. And I think for this question, I would say first of all, why us? We are a great team to work with, and we have the ambition and goal to really fulfill and achieve our business model. And then why this is like it's like a nice business niche. We're doing like AI here, and then it's like a huge market size in the future. So that's probably what I'm gonna say.
Wow, what a nice pitch in such a short amount of time, right? I want to work for you. Thank you, lady in red. Anybody else who wants to share? Yes, Emily.
It's also about how the employee wants. Like, tell me, what do you want to grow in this like amount of years? I will give you space to grow. I will give you the resource you need to grow up to be the person you want to be. So that's one of the reasons.
And that is a really good reason also if we look at different generations. Let's look at our parents and older. They care less about this kind of growth. They're more about like literally the money and the career ladder and so on. But for the younger generations like Z, for example, they want more like freedom, work-life balance, maybe like training, development, this kind of investment. Thank you. Anybody else? Or maybe let's talk about number two. What can you offer to your employee beyond the salary? Or maybe no salary? A client of mine, she's German, she was in Beijing, she wrote a book, had like a community, and she literally had 20 people, students from the UK, working with her for free. She just gave them some career coaching back, helped them on the CV and so on. 20 people. What can you offer?
You can offer your expertise.
Anything else? Yes, please.
For example, if you think this is the right person, you can offer this person to become your partner in your company.
Yeah, like shares, for example, being a partner, giving shares in the company.
Like see the future in a more concrete way for this person. Is to keep this person closer to you even in the future, so he will work better in the present.
Beautiful. Okay, so because of the time, I have to move on. So just a few things that you can keep in mind beyond of offering a salary. There's maybe a company phone that you can offer, a laptop, more vacation days. That's something I do. Because I always think, well, because I'm a foreigner, maybe I can just offer a few more vacation days as a return, right? Because like for us, it's also normal back in Germany. And people appreciate it. Or for example, I got influence from the HP culture. We had like open door policies. We don't stamp our time. So I tell my employee, well, I expect you to work 40 hours for me, but at the same time, like, you manage your own time. I probably need you, especially in the mornings, but hey, if you want to have a longer lunch break or something else, or you need to go to the doctor, it's okay. Or like even like for home office, I'm more flexible on this. Oh, you want to go to Xi'an to see your family? Well, go a week there as long as the results are fine and you deliver. I don't care if you do this a week from Xi'an or from Shanghai. But this is my philosophy. That's something that goes back to me. This may not fit to everybody. So yeah, like team building events, maybe with the family. They can bring the kids, the dog, and the wife. training, educational allowance, so they can decide where to spend the allowance, health allowance, gym membership, stocks, like you said, flexible working hours, working from home. Especially nowadays with lockdown and COVID, this home office thing is becoming more and more popular. Living allowance, insurance, transportation card. When I worked at HP in Finland, I got a transportation card. They even paid my rent, which was nice. I appreciate it. And even my lunch. Personal driver for some people here, company car, free meals, business trip abroad, or like a flight back home. Not everything just needs to cost money, right? For example, I'm a trainer and coach, so I love team spirit. Like what I actually do is, this is like just like two of my colleagues. Mercy's been my longest employee. My company's 3.5 years old. Mercy has been with me nearly 3 years now. Although she's back in Malaysia, never made it back to China, but we have like once per month at least like a team lunch. And then it's like 4 or 5 people of us. Online team lunch or dinner. Hey, come on, like there is no excuse because she's in Malaysia, I'm in Shanghai, the other person is in Hangzhou or so, that we can't have lunch together. At least that's what I think, right? So like with the team, or even like I often even have my cats with me as part of the team, because this is what is important for me, the team spirit. And like when new interns, when I onboarded them, I wanted to take them out for lunch. We can get to know each other in a more casual way. At HP, we had the coffee corners, because the reason was we do business and the coffee corners like now, because we have a coffee, we're a bit more relaxed, a bit less stressed, and the conversation may go differently, as if you and me are sitting straight in front of each other in the meeting room, negotiating and discussing. So think about what fits to you. Who are you? And I just want to share something with you. So I do a lot of like consulting about bringing happiness in workplaces and how can you hire the right talent. So science actually found out if you have happy employees and you really invest in your company culture, like maybe you've heard of Zappos, they got bought by Amazon for a bunch of money. They really focused so much on their company culture, even when they didn't know if they could sustain the company. But that helped them from an early stage to hire and attract the right talent in the company, to retain them over time, instead of just hiring the first best person who will probably leave after a few months. So the interesting thing is, if you invest in your company culture, science research found out you can increase your profitability by 30%. I've even done my own research on this in Suzhou and Shanghai. You increase productivity by 43%. Just by focusing on company culture, having the right people, working on their happiness, well-being. Here, higher sales. Who doesn't want to have higher sales? 37% increase, 300% more innovation. And like less safety incidents, lower turnover by 51%. You can put this a number how much money you can save. Just like decrease in sick leave, less burnout, and burnout is a huge topic for entrepreneurs like you. I've only had 2 so far. Well, yeah. Well, it's nothing funny, right? But yeah, these are important topics for all of us, and I think these numbers show why it does make sense, even if you're still at the start or your company is just like 1, 2, 3 years old. Focus on the company culture. It helps you attract the right people, which then also brings us to extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. So when you have the interview with the employee, or even when I just hired my newest colleague, I asked her in the beginning of her work again, so Yang, what is it you want? What are your goals inside the company? And one of the things she mentioned is, I'd like to have a mentor. So the nice thing is, because I'm a trainer and coach, I can actually let her participate in a lot of my trainings for free, where other people would need to pay a lot of money. So I can actually develop her potential, her time management, productivity, etc. That's a good thing, but I don't want to be her mentor. I think it's not, I mean, I can only be a mentor in a specific way, but I thought it's good to have someone from outside. So today I'm going to talk to my friend. He is the VP of HR of HSBC Bank. And I'm going to ask him, hey, Kieran, would you mind mentoring my employee? And I'm going to invest in her, but it's one of her wishes here, intrinsically. She's even more motivated and more thankful for me and to help me and give back. And the reason why she chose my company, it's also related to my vision, mission, purpose. When we start creating the company, right, Yaro, we worked on this. What's your mission, vision, purpose? And you can change it over time, but God, this shit is important. I know it's the basics, but according to this, I'm attracting the right talent because the people are not working for full potential partners because I paid them an Alibaba salary or so. I guess you get a lot, I don't know. But it's because of these things, what I stand for as a person, what my company stands for, what my way of working stands for. Because of that, I really want to attract the people who care about these kind of things. And that's why I have people like Mercy, who is still with me after 3 years. And I was working with this one company. Wow, this is yellow now. Okay, nice. So that company, they're Indian founders, Indian Chinese employees. So for them, it was like the company goal to develop into a medium-sized company and create a happy workplace where people feel a sense of belonging. And it was part of what we did in a team building. Because especially when you have a new employee in the beginning, you want to onboard them, right? Part of the recruitment, HR management. You want to make sure they understand your vision, mission, purpose, and your values. They get this, so it becomes part of their DNA. It's part of this intrinsic motivation. And then I asked this company, so what actually we will work together on creating his values. So he didn't have his values for 1.5 years since the company was running. But now that he has his company values, he's able to keep the right talent who really also fit to his company. For example, like integrity, teamwork, and entrepreneurship spirit. Somebody who may not have that, maybe doesn't fit in your company. Even if he has a perfect CV and he has all these skills you need, you might want to reconsider. According to the person's values, do they actually fit to you or not? For example, here, Tony Robbins, he often says, most people fail to achieve their goals in life for one simple reason. Well, they just never take the first step. And this somehow resonates with me because this is part of my company values, very intense as you can see here. And when I hire people, when I have the first interview, I actually go with my potential new colleague through these values. And I probably take 50 minutes on this. Why? Because I want this person to understand me and my company in and out. And I really want to see, do you fit to this? And I'm not requesting 100%. But because my people fit to this, it's easier to work together. And it's another intrinsic value why they might want to work for me, who gives them this freedom, or maybe sometimes pushes them out of the comfort zone, or I let them make decisions by themselves. I don't want to take every decision. But there's other managers, for them it's important. I, as the boss, make the decision. So I'm not saying something's right or wrong. And you see here, that company, he, for example, put customers first. Alibaba also has, I think, customers first, if I'm not mistaken. I say no, that doesn't fit for me. My employees come first. Because if my employees, they spend a lot of time at work, they have a lot of issues at home, we all do, right? They bring their issues to work. So one day, Mercy's partner broke up with her. And then she said, hey, Janine, in the morning when we had our call, do you mind can I talk to you about that? And I said, yeah, sure. So I took my time, I freed my schedule, and I spoke to her about it. And she thought I'd probably have some good advice for breakups. So I tried my best, at least as a friend and coach and mentor and colleague, but it helped her. And at the end, she could also do a better job again. but this is what I stand for. So at home, this is your homework if you want to. Check out like a list of values from the internet, take that list, and I just want you to think about, if you have not done it yet, what are your personal values? You as a person, what do you care like for your cafe here? What are your values? Because he's the owner of the cafe, right? So if everything starts with his personal values, and then he brings this into his business, and he might want his staff to kind of like show these values to the customers here. If it's about customers first, then he wants his staff to show this. Yes, you come first, right? And it sounds so stupid, but these are important things. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to cover the last 3 things. 3 more tools out of so many tools that you can use in the hiring process. But this is what I personally like to choose. Number 1, I check on their mindset. And the McKinsey Reskilling China research said the same. I know I want an employee who has a growth mindset. Like you mentioned earlier, like lifelong learning you said, and who develops with you, right? And I want this person like to not be afraid of feedback, but to ask for feedback, to grow with me, and all these kind of things. So, and this is something I check in a conversation. Does the person like, do we have any French people in here? No French people? Okay, so like, okay, I'm making a joke, all right? Like, French people seem to be famous according to the stereotype. They like to complain, right? So all the French people who are listening, everybody knows I love French people, so don't get me wrong. But I want to have a person, actually, who wants to focus on solving a problem. I don't want to hear complaints. Okay, you can have a few seconds. We all have our moments to get that out, right? To complain about the client. But I want this person to focus on solving the issue and not complaining the whole day. This is part of like growth mindset. So I check on their mindset. And a lot of managers, like you said, what's your name? Greg, thank you. Like Greg said, they focus on the attitude. You may have come from Fudan University, you have the best GPA, the best grades, but at the end, I may still not take you because maybe there's another person who has the right work attitude. And there's a lot of research that shows it is easier to hire the person with the right attitude than the right grades in university. Number 2, there is this, you can take a picture of this, 16personalities.com. Maybe you have heard of MBTI. It's an online test to find out about your personality type. I use that. I also run workshops with clients on this because with this simple tool, you can actually see, according to the personality type, which job fits. Because since the age of 2, we have this personality type, and we all have these natural talents that we bring in, no matter of what you have studied. So this helps me to improve communication, but also to delegate the right task to the right person, according to even natural talents people have. And then number 3, so this is it basically like jobs according to personality types, and don't think 100% that this is like true, right? Take it just as a guidance. And then there's number 2, I take the positive intelligence. I just got certified as a coach in this. It's from a Stanford professor, where basically we can measure like PQ score, the positive intelligence score measures how many times per day are you actually getting sabotaged in your mind. For example, judging other people, being too controlling, too perfectionist, too rational, like extremes. And how many times per day is your mind serving you? And you access the right side of your brain where you basically like use more creativity, more empathy, for example. And I've also done my own research on this, and it really shows that people who have this positive intelligence score of at least 75 out of 100%, they are happier in their life, and number 2, I'm sure you would have guessed it, they perform better. And this is why, well, I also run programs on this, but this is why I also let people check out what are their inner saboteurs, what is their positive intelligence score. I even did research on this where within 8 weeks, I developed teams to even like increase their score, as you can see here. And it even helped me to show employers which employees to keep and which maybe not to keep. But this was just one part of the guidance. So yeah, these are the different saboteurs of people. Okay, now I'm slowly coming to an end. After so many like content and hopefully I was able to inspire, I want to make you think again and maybe take out your phone again and ask yourself, what are 3 key takeaways you learned today? And maybe also like what are 3 things that you want to start taking action? Or maybe just like 1 for each. So that there's this at least 1 thing that from today you can start taking action.